A top story. Imagine this. You're walking down as a woman on a public street. You sense someone is following you. And before you can react, you're stalked, you're groped, and you're molested. Your predator then flees and fades into the night while you're left shaken, violated, and helpless. At a time like this, you will expect the system to stand by you, not say that and brush that such things happen in big cities. That's exactly what is the case in Bengaluru, where a disturbing CCTV video, and we'll play that, and there you see it on the screens, has emerged from the BTM layout area. Two women are walking through a dimly lit alley, and as you can see, a man tails them, then suddenly grabs and gropes one of them. Her friend tries to intervene. This molester, as you can see, then tries to flee. The women, clearly terrified, naturally shaken, walk away. The police have registered a case against serious charges, stalking, sexual harassment, and assault. But they don't even know who the survivor is because this woman hasn't come forward yet and filed an official complaint. So while the cops are still piecing together the case, Karnataka's Home Minister G. Parmeshwara has delivered a comment that will sting every woman in the city and across the country. Incidents such as this happen in a big city. Let's listen in.
ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಘಟನೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪಟ್ಟಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಘಟನೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಬೀಟ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆನೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಪರಿಣಾಮಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಗೆ ಸೂಚನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
The Congress party has the hua to hua mindset. In this hua to hua mindset of the Congress party's home minister has said that crimes against women keep happening. Karnataka has registered more than 6,000 cases against women and the Karnataka government has not acted. This tells you that the DNA of the Congress party is anti-women. Simi Roswell John was expelled from the Congress party for exposing the casting couch in the Kerala Congress. The Congress party in Karnataka, by taking the crime against women as a casual piece of affair, has exposed its anti-women DNA.
So what Mr. Parmeshwara said is not just dismissive, it is dangerous. Now, the Karnataka government will be quick to point out a study which was done by a 2024 Avatar Group survey, which said that Bengaluru is the best place to work for working women. But best does not necessarily equate safest. Going beyond the headline of Bengaluru being the best city for working women, when we look at the rankings or at least the scores on safety, this is where Bengaluru stands. It scored 6.17 out of 10. That's lower than Mumbai, that's lower than Pune, that's lower than Chennai, and that's lower than Hyderabad as well. So Bengaluru might be great in terms of opportunities, in terms of infrastructure, relatively speaking, but definitely not in terms of safety. Now let's take a look at what the crime data of Bengaluru tells us. Sexual harassment cases in the city have gone up from 1,139 in 2023 to 1,247 this year. In 2024, that's a 9% spike. Rape cases too have seen a rise from 172 last year to 178. That's a spike of 3%. The headline figures was not great, is not very massive, but it still indicates that we have not succeeded in bringing down crime in Bengaluru, especially crimes against women. So while the city continues to call itself progressive and inclusive, the numbers which we just put out paint a very different picture. And then what makes it worse is that when our leaders normalize sexual violence, what message are we sending to predators? And what message are we sending to their victims? Is this really the best we can do for women who call Bengaluru home? Women from across the country who have moved to Bengaluru in order to try and make an honest living. Let's put that across to my guests who are joining me at this point. I have Ashwini Shankar, spokesperson of the BJP. I have Brinda Adige, activist. I have also Nirmal Kaur, former IPS officer. And I also have Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst. We did reach out to the Congress party as well to send us an official spokesperson. But for whatever reason it is, they have refused to do so. Syed Asad, let me start with you at this point. It's quite disturbing, isn't it, that the Home Minister, firstly, this incident happens. Now, obviously, yes, I will give that it's impossible to prevent every crime, especially one that happens late in the night in a deserted alley. But we have still not been able to catch this perpetrator. We don't know even who the victim is. And on top of that, when it is so unknown, which means that it could happen to any woman in the city at any point of time from any person, The state home minister's statement saying that these things happen in big cities, isn't it downright callous and insensitive?
Ritanshu Saab, I've always believed with great power, there's great responsibility and equal accountability. Of course, I completely agree with you on the front that yes, the words chosen, the words said must have been a lot more careful and a lot more responsible. There are no two ways about it. Also, as a matter of fact, what does the Home Minister say? The Home Minister has spoken to the Police Commissioner and asked for solutions. Solutions being regular patrolling in the areas. Not just that, an effective beat system, complete discipline coming up from the police system. Not just that, let us also understand that the case in charge here is the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Bangalore Southeast, Miss Sara Fatima, who has said that she has launched 5 special teams to get nabbed that particular criminal who has done such a ghastly act. The fact of the matter, I believe that there must be many reforms to come in here. Higher CCTV cameras coming in, higher marshalling, patrolling, a lot more street lights in the front. Only then can we progress as a nation today. The fact of the matter we need to understand is, be it the BJP, this issue is absolutely not going to help. I think in matters like these, Bengaluru being a
Okay.
silicon capital of the East, a startup capital as well, we need to come together and make the Bengaluru brand and an image much better. Of course, we need to make it a lot more safer for women, much more protected. Because I am concerned here at my home, surrounded by my mother, my sister. So therefore, I am also equally caring about them, concerned about them. So therefore, Ritanshu Saab, I will definitely take a foot forward and say that politicization of this matter will absolutely not help. I think the way forward is having
Okay,
more
let's
women
then put that.
representation in the assembly and the parliament. Just 10 seconds, sir. Having more representation of women in the assembly and the parliament. And also, if you see the NCRB records, sir, the National Crime Records Bureau, my simple question is, why do political parties even give tickets to those netas who have serious crimes against women? That is such a shameful act. Unless and until we clean up our
Okay.
system, this will continue.
Okay, so you have given a lot of broader ranging answers and solutions to this. Let's continue and focus on the issue at hand. Ashwini Shankar, the charge coming in from Mr. Abbas is that what purpose does politicizing a woman's trauma serve in this case when the government is insisting that enough all that could be done in terms of action to nab the culprit is being done? Then why politicize a woman's trauma?
Mr. Ritanshu, firstly, I thank for the opportunity. See here, as he said, it is not politicizing the issue here, but when the BJP government in the center talks about Nari Shakti and the women forces in Army, Navy and Air Force, we are empowering women. But in Karnataka, it is so unfortunate that we have such a irresponsible home minister here. This incident that has occurred in Bengaluru is highly condemnable. And this has exposed that, under the Congress government in the state, it is the total collapse of the law and order and women's safety. And Mr. Ritanshu, let me just bring it to your notice also. This is not the first time our Home Minister is giving such absurd statements. See, very recently when we had the Neha Hiremet murder case, when a college student girl was nabbed in the campus, more than 18 times, okay? The same Home Minister says that this was her lover, which her father denied. He's counselor from who did the statement and he had to apologize. This is not the first time the Home Minister is making such an absurd statement. And Mr. Ritanshu, in Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, we have seen Shah Rukh Khan making the statement, "Badi badi deshon mein choti choti baatein hoti hi rehti hai." I think he has recalled this dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan from DDLJ. That is why he is telling now, "Badi badi शहरों में छोटी छोटी घटनाएं घटती रहती है, उसको छोड़ दो." So this is highly condemnable. And today there's
Okay.
one more, thing that has spiced up the issue here in Karnataka is today in Bangalore, when the Praveen Nettaru Hindu activist murderer who was being brought up to the court after the hearing, one of the SDPI Karyakartas will go and kiss him in public on his forehead, even in spite of the police being surrounded by him. But no action has been taken against by the police.
Okay, so let's
On
leave
that
the larger
person.
issue of
So
law and
this
order
is not
aside.
the
I just
issue.
want to focus. I don't want to make this political. There are other channels today who are giving it an overtly political contour. My stakeholder is my viewers, especially the women who of Bengaluru. There are many people who have gone there from across the country to work, and they hope to be safe. Their families hope their children are safe, and their loved ones are safe. And that is my only hope at this point. That is my only stakeholder at this point. Brinda Adige, I'm
Yes,
okay. Let's
yes,
give
the
Mr.
women's safety is
Parmeshwar a doubt that
totally
he
collapsed
really
in the
was
state.
not a Shah Rukh Khan fan. Okay, Brinda Adige, let's give Mr. Parmeshwara the benefit of the doubt for a second to say that he probably was not trying to spout dialogues from DDLJ. He meant that such things happen in big cities, it's not possible, effective implementation. But when a person comes
This
at
shows
his
that he's
position,
so
someone who's
easygoing.
in charge of law and order comes up with a statement, says, that these things happen in big cities, indicating that they can't be prevented 100%. What message does it give out to the women who work in Bengaluru? For me, the most damning aspect is that this woman has not come out and filed a complaint so far, which means clearly she doesn't feel safe enough to take this against a perpetrator. She didn't feel safe in the first place, and she still doesn't feel safe enough to go ahead and file a complaint. Is that not a more damning reality?
Absolutely. I will begin with your last question. It is very damning. It is also something that is very concerning, and it is a dangerous kind of a trend when an elected representative or home minister makes a callous, irresponsible comment like that, a statement like that, that emboldens perpetrators. The impunity of the sexual predators increase, saying the minister itself said this. So what are we worried about? Now, that said, I have to place on record we have ministers from all parties, politicians from all parties across India
Exactly.
making these kind of callous statements. Nobody can be spared. We know what happened with the wrestlers. We also know what happened with those who raped and murdered and were garlanded. So there are n number of cases that we can talk about. But all of that done, I will still hold the state responsible, because here we are talking about not only the police, we are talking about the prosecution and the judiciary. Nowhere have we seen swift action or certain punishment. So that itself is a deterrent for women to come out and talk about it. You also mentioned about a high number of cases that have been registered in Karnataka. That is a good trend, because we want to tell women, come out and talk about it. In this particular case also, 4 days down
Indeed.
the line, we don't have the survivors coming out and reporting. Now, that is also because the time that is taken to file an FIR, then the matter that is coming to court, the number of holidays that these people will have to take to present themselves in court, and that itself is a lot of not just cumbersome, tedious process, but mental trauma and torture. So let's keep those things in mind before we make any of these other comments. We want to hold the state accountable to say, all your laws are great, your policies are great, your implementation absolutely is pathetic. And we want to hold judges and prosecutors and
Okay.
police accountable for it, to say, is there any way you can speed it up and tell people rule of law is here to stay, beware. And education is very important, because we know that media is also promoting this. When I talk of media, I talk of films and serials that objectify and glamorize this kind of actions, and they also must be held accountable and responsible. All said, my home minister must
Yes.
come and give confidence to every woman in Karnataka.
And do you feel, Brinda Adige, I'm taking the liberty to assume, I think you are a resident of Bengaluru, if I may say so. Do you feel confidence from the statements made by your Home Minister, ma'am?
No, I don't have that confidence. It is trivializing and belittling the
Exactly.
experience
So,
that these
Syed,
women have had over there.
exactly. So, Syed Asad Abbas, since multiple people have come out and said that Mr. Parmeshwara's attitude was wrong, and he seems to have a history, he have a past track record of coming up with such controversial statements, trivializing it, shouldn't some action be taken at the top? At the very least, at least an apology. Instead, we have the Congress party not even willing to engage with us on this forum. Isn't that doubling down on a grave error in terms of optics, in terms of sending a message that you're taking this matter seriously?
Danju sir, firstly, I think Mirana and yourself are doing stories which certainly matter to the citizens. I'm a regular viewer of the same, and I think every political party must and should appear on your channel and your debates and discussions so that we could all get better to bring in better discussions, political dialogue, and reforms. But the fact is, I'm making a political statement only because of the BJP spokesperson has said. The fact of the matter, where was the BJP spokesperson? Ma'am, Bilkis Banu's convicted rapists were garlanded, were given Gujarat remission by the BJP government, approved by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Your government, ma'am, how are you okay with it? Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. Now, since you're so selective, ma'am, about Karnataka, Bengaluru, as I was preparing for this debate and doing my research, let me tell you, ma'am, 23 men gang raped a 19-year-old woman in Uttar Pradesh as we speak today. FIR was filed today. But why don't
Yes.
you speak of that? The fact of the matter is, Ritanshu Sahab, politicizing this matter is not going to help. Again, they speak of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. Their leader, C.T. Ravi, here in Karnataka, in a program or government event, called out the most shameful, obscene word to a woman minister, sitting minister, Lakshmi Habbalkar, but none of them will condemn it. Can the BJP spokesperson today even
Okay.
condemn that? The fact of the
Okay,
matter
Ashwini
is,
Shankar, come in and respond to that. Can the BJP really pretend to be holier than thou when it comes to respecting women, when it comes to not promoting candidates, politicians who have disrespected women, when it comes to taking action, when it comes to crimes against women that are happening in their states? And
Certainly,
after that, I'll come
BJP
to
is a
Nirmal
party
Kaurji.
that
Go ahead,
stands
Ashwini Shankar.
for, yes, certainly BJP is a party that stands for and means for Nari Shakti and Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. You know, we never have such irresponsible statements made by any of our ministers across the country, not just in Karnataka. Okay? You would have seen the consequences if at all any crime is happening against women. What is the consequences, they have to face by Yogi ji, that we have seen on a very wide social media platform. Okay, now we are talking about the irresponsible statement made by the Home Minister here in Karnataka, which is not for the first time that has been made. And there is no MP, no MLA, no MLC from BJP across the country as well as in Karnataka who gives such rubbish and irresponsible statements. He is just shying away from whatever he has to face. He is not able to face the public, and it's been chaos here in Bengaluru.
Okay.
The public are asking for an answer, a responsible answer from a home minister, which he is denying to give to the public.
Okay, let's talk about responsible answers. Nirmal Kaur has been waiting quite patiently. She's a former IPS officer. Nirmal ji, Mr. Parmeshwara, if he could defend himself, would probably say that he didn't mean that these things are acceptable in cities. He said that these things will continue to happen in big cities. By big cities, he meant that cities where policing every corner, every nukkad, every gully is impossible at this point. Is that something you as a former IPS officer will admit, that it's not possible to police every gully at every city, and these crimes cannot be prevented? The only thing that can be done is to ensure that strict action is taken whenever these unfortunate things happen.
See, there are two parts. The first primary part, of course, you've asked a substantive question. I'll come to that first. But the very insensitivity of the reaction, the way he has reacted, as if it's very normal, it's bound to happen, it's going to happen always, despite our best efforts. Whatever we do, this is going to happen. And, in a way, not only flippant, I would say a very disrespectful, indignified, outrageous, shocking remark. I mean, how can he say that this is bound to happen? Badi jagah to chota ho jayega. I mean, that shows what kind of a world he lives in, where women are not, in our culture, we say, yatra naryastu pujate ramante tatra devta. Dignity of women, even moksha, the highest purusharth, is not available without blessings of a woman. In our culture, women occupy a place, a very prominent place. It's not like the West, where they were considered private property of the men till a century ago. We are different, and our culture is very different. And this is what he is. I mean, the minister, very responsible minister, the home minister of a large, very progressive state, coming out with statements like that and creating impunity of this kind in the society. That okay, this is, we have seen even the High Court judges. There was this case a couple of months ago where a child was, somebody touched her chest and tried to open her underwear, and the justice of the High Court held that it is not. It's under the POXO Act. She set the accused free. There's no skin-to-skin contact because the clothes were not removed. And very recently, about a week ago, we had another case in which another judge held that just because the judge tried to touch her body, and then pulled the string of her pajamas. I mean, as if she made it out that it was an attempt to rob her pajamas instead of a sexual molestation case. So this kind of insensitivity in the society and normalizing it, creating impunity, this is very bad. Now, coming to the substantive answer of the question that you asked, is it possible to, always prevent it? Of course, it is, I would say. Girls have to be trained in self-defense. They have to be trained that you don't have to take anything lying down, unarmed combat. If you're being chased, there are certain basic rules, in these dark alleys. If you go, what is it you should be doing? All kind of safety training has to be given to women, and above all, the capacity to defend themselves. The girl could have hit him back, could have just, had she knew a bit of karate or something, the very basic moves could have warded off this attacker. So I think pepper spray, there's so many things, which are there. After post Nirbhaya, there have been so many sensitization and such distribution of pepper sprays, and so many free of cost kits have been
Nirmal
given.
Kaurji, with all due respect, Nirmal, I mean, with all due respect, you are making it sound, I mean, from your answers so far, you have highlighted that, I mean, Brinda Adigaji said that the media also has to be cautioned. Mr. Abbas said that, of course, politicians, political parties who field netas who are disrespectful to women should be pulled up. You have pointed out how there is insensitivity in the judiciary and the political class also. You have even said the women should be able to defend themselves.
The police too.
Where is the police action? Is this man, okay, they could not have prevented him, but he's still not been nabbed so far.
See, I'm sure they're looking at the CCTV footage. They're trying to identify in a crowd. Police, somebody told us at the beginning, I think your correspondent, that the local DCP has formed many teams who are out looking for this man. They will find him. The answer is, of course, one is solving this crime. The answer is also that such crimes do not happen in future. Women feel safe. Women are safe wherever they go, whether it's the middle of the night or whether they're in a dark alley or wherever they are. They should feel free to go anywhere. They should feel secure. A sense of security should prevail so that they can contribute their best potential to the society, be it economic, be it whatever it is, political, social. They should feel safe.
Brinda Adigaji, would you second these suggestions, Brinda Adigaji?
Well, I do second some of the suggestions, but I am totally against saying that women must protect themselves because learn karate and all of it, because you're placing that burden to protect yourself on women. Why not we start talking about educating men and boys in our schools and colleges and in our homes, and then ensure that there is punishment, whether you call it punitive punishment, reformatory punishment, whatever it might be, that should be done swiftly. Because otherwise there is not going to be that fear of law. And only when there's fear of law will there be a rule of law. And if we don't have these things and keep blaming the woman to say, you be like this, you be like that, we have equal rights to go onto the street and walk on the street at any time of the day and night. It is the job of the state to ensure all of these things. Now, there are no way that a minister makes these kind of statements, because we have repeatedly hearing it, emboldening the perpetrators. That is unacceptable. We need to be telling them action will be taken on you, and strict action will be taken. So talk about it, and do not say that reporting is increasing the crime. No, crimes are increased all over India. Reporting is important because only then women will come out to talk about it. We're still waiting for these two people to come.
A very strong message needs to be sent out. So a very strong message needs to be sent out to the perverts who perhaps think that they are emboldened enough to cry that action will be taken against him, and that message has to be sent in terms of actions as well as in terms of speech as well, in terms of statements completely opposite to what the Home Minister has actually insinuated by saying such things happen. I think Mr. Abbas wanted to make a point. Mr. Abbas, quickly, I'll come to you and then I'll go for the last word.
I was listening to Brinda ji, who also happens to be my neighbor. Let me tell you, she's consecutively done some fantastic work in terms of women empowerment. I'd like to take one point deriving to your view as Ritanshu Saab, is that we need to make the police system here a lot more friendly. Let it be the BJP Congress or the JDS who's ruling our state of Karnataka. Let us not shy away from approaching the police. people-friendly police is one initiative that I have myself spoken to the Karnataka police. When we see men in khaki, we need to make it a lot more approachable, and this has to come from both the ends. And also, when the reporting happens from the victim, let me tell you, Ritanshu Saab, you're right. The victim did not approach the police. As per DCP Sara Fatima, she had to get in touch with the victim, form 5 names to nab this culprit ASAP. As a matter of fact, take this cognizance and go ahead. I think police system of any state must deal with issues like this with iron hands, so that our daughters, our sisters here in Karnataka,
which is why I would say, and not just in Kannada, for me, the most damning aspect still remains the fact, not the fact that this man had the audacity to do that in front of 2 women, not the fact that the Karnataka Home Minister has come up with such a shockingly callous statement, not the fact that he's still not been nabbed. For me, the biggest indictment, and I think this more than anything should make the Karnataka government and the police hang its head in shame, is that somewhere out there is this woman who has been made to feel violated, made to feel betrayed, and she still does not have the confidence in the system to come and address the police and come and ask for justice here. I really hope if that brave lady is watching us right now, that she feels the confidence, she feels accountable, she feels strengthened enough to come and seek justice. But I hope at least the Karnataka government doesn't wait for that and ensures that there's justice done by getting this man booked at this point and by giving a strong response to people like Parmeshwara who cannot come up with statements like bade shehron mein aise cheezein hote rehti hai. Unfortunately, Ashwini Shankar ji, I'm sorry I won't be able to come to you for final comments, but I get your point as well, which you have made earlier on the show. Syed Abbas, Ashwini Shankar, Brinda Adiga, and Nirmal Kaur, thank you so much for joining me with your views. It's time for a short break. On the other side, the urban debate continues with Sneha Koshi. Stay tuned.